I used to think trust was something you could build like a house, brick by brick, with enough time and effort, it would stand against anything. I believed that. I lived that. Until the day my wife came home from the spa glowing like she'd just been born again. That day's been burned into my memory like a scar that never quite heals. The way she smiled, subtle, content, like a woman with a secret, left me feeling like a stranger in my own kitchen. Her name's Dana. We've been married 11 years. I met her when we were both working second jobs in college. She was folding sweaters in a department store. I was stacking boxes at the back. We were broke, hopeful, and stupid in the good kind of way. We built a life together. A modest house in a quiet neighborhood, 2 cars, no kids, our choice. Dana started a home decor blog that eventually took off. I worked in logistics for a mid-sized shipping company, climbing the ladder one slow step at a time. I thought we were good. I really did. But about 2 years ago, something in her changed. I can't say when exactly, it wasn't a single moment. It was more like a series of quiet disappearances. She got softer around the edges, but sharper in her distance. She started seeing a new massage therapist named Aaron. Talked about how he understood anatomy better than anyone. That should have been a red flag, but I was too busy trying to keep the mortgage paid and the lights on. I started to notice she didn't flinch when I touched her anymore, because I wasn't touching her at all. She said she was just tired, stressed. I bought it. Because I wanted to. A few weeks ago, her phone buzzed on the counter while she was in the shower. It was a message from someone saved as A. No emojis. Just one line, same time Thursday. I've missed your hands. Now, I'm not a paranoid man by nature. I've got my flaws, sure. I drink too much on Saturdays, I forget anniversaries, and I've put on a few pounds since the wedding. But I'm not an idiot. Still, I didn't confront her. Not right away. I needed more than a feeling. So I played dumb. I started asking questions about her appointments. She lied so easily it made my skin crawl. Just a deep tissue day, she'd say, while brushing her hair in the mirror. Aaron really knows how to work out the tension. Yeah. I bet he does. I went to her spa one afternoon while she was supposed to be there. I told them I wanted to schedule something with Aaron. The receptionist frowned. Aaron only takes a few private clients now, she said. He's been scaling back. Private clients. I left without booking anything. That night, I sat across from Dana at the dinner table, watching her text under the table while I chewed microwaved lasagna. I could hear my own heartbeat. She looked up and smiled. Something wrong, babe? And I smiled back. No. Just tired. Inside, I was already planning. 3 weeks later, I had everything I needed. Every lie she told me, I logged. Every appointment, every night she came home late, I kept track. I wasn't just looking for proof anymore, I was studying her. Watching how she unraveled when she thought no one was looking. I hired a private investigator. I never thought I'd be that guy. The one who pays someone to follow his wife around like some kind of discount James Bond. But desperate men do strange things. The PI's name was Carl. Mid-50s, ex-cop, smelled like smoke and pine gum. He met me in a booth at a Denny's and slid a manila folder across the table. You're not gonna like what's in there, he said. But it's clean. You've got photos, time logs, location data. Inside were pictures. Dana in the parking lot of a Marriott downtown. Dana stepping out of Aaron's car near a side entrance to his private practice. Dana, her hand on his chest, head tilted back in a way I hadn't seen in years. Not with me. The dates lined up with every deep tissue appointment she'd mentioned. Every migraine. Every canceled dinner plan. I stared at one of the photos for what felt like a year. She was laughing in it. Her mouth open. Eyes full of life. A version of her that no longer existed in our house. I didn't cry. That's not how it hit me. It hit me like shame. Like a heavy, silent disappointment that poured into my spine and made me feel hollow. Like I'd been trying to hold up a bridge made of rotted wood. Carl sipped his coffee and said, "You want to confront her?" I shook my head. No. I want to watch her squirm first. Because the thing is, when someone breaks something in you and expects you to stay quiet, your silence becomes the most dangerous thing in the room. I went home that night and kissed her forehead while she slept. She shifted and smiled in her sleep. I stood over her for a long time. She had no idea. And I wasn't done planning. I started small. I stopped asking her about her day. I stopped texting her good morning. No more cooking breakfast on Sundays. No more reminding her to take her vitamins or warm up her car in the winter. I let the space between us expand until it was big enough to hide what I was building behind it. She noticed. Of course she did. She'd tilt her head, watching me from the couch while I scrolled my phone like nothing was wrong. I could feel her eyes on me, searching for the men who used to worship her. But he was gone. He died somewhere between a massage table and a Marriott hallway. At work, I started shifting money. I closed out the joint savings account and opened 2 new ones in my name. I rerouted my direct deposit. I made copies of everything, her texts, the hotel receipts the PI had dug up, screenshots of emails she forgot to delete. You know what they say, revenge is best served cold. And brother, I was building a glacier. She kept up appearances. Still moaned about lower back pain, still wore that robe she knew I liked. Still sent selfies from the spa, legs in a towel, captioned with, "Self-care day, woman getting massage, medium light skin tone, purple heart." I started collecting those too. And then I booked an appointment. With Aaron. Used a different name. Paid cash. Told the receptionist I was a new client, just moved into town. I even put a slight limp in my step for good measure. When the day came, I walked in and sat down on the little cushioned bench near the fountain. The air smelled like eucalyptus and betrayal. A few minutes later, Aaron came out. He looked exactly like the type, early 40s, too tan, necklace peeking out from a deep V-neck, hands like someone who's never worked a real job a day in his life. He smiled. "James." I stood and shook his hand. "That's me." He led me into a dimly lit room with faux candles and soft piano music playing from a speaker in the corner. I lay down face down on the table, my heart hammering against the vinyl. "You got any tension spots I should focus on?" he asked. "Lower back," I said. He started working. Silence, mostly. Just the sound of his breathing and the faint rub of oil against skin. I kept my face in the cradle, staring at the floor, thinking, this is the guy. These are the hands that held my wife. Slid down her spine. Pressed into the skin I used to call mine. Then he spoke. "You new in town?" "Yeah," I said. "Just moved here for work. Figured I'd treat myself." He chuckled. "Smart move. Gotta take care of yourself." I almost laughed. I wanted to ask him, "Do you treat all your clients this well? Or just the married ones who come back for seconds?" But I stayed quiet. Let him finish. Let him work. When it was over, I thanked him, paid in cash, and left. He didn't recognize me. But he would. Soon. I waited another 3 weeks. Long enough to collect a few more lies. Long enough to let her think everything was fine. That's the thing about cheaters, they don't panic until you stop playing your role. Until you stop getting jealous. Stop checking in. Stop caring. That's when their fantasy starts to crack. Because your silence doesn't mean peace, it means a storm is building where they can't see it. So I gave her peace. I even bought flowers. Randomly. No occasion. Just to watch her squirm. She took them with a smile, eyes flickering with guilt. Asked if I wanted to have dinner that night, some new Italian place downtown. I said yes. We sat across from each other, candlelight flickering between us. She looked beautiful. That wasn't the hard part. The hard part was knowing that someone else had seen her in that same light, maybe even loved her in it. Or pretended to. She reached for my hand across the table. I let her take it. "You seem happier lately," she said. I smiled. "Just letting go of things." She nodded, probably thinking that meant I'd moved past whatever suspicions I'd had. That I was healing. That I'd be her quiet little fool for a few more years while she slipped off for her appointments. And that's when I knew it was time. The next morning, I sent an envelope to Aaron's office. No note. Just 4 8x10 color prints of him and Dana. One outside the hotel. One in his car. One of them laughing together by a fountain. And one of them kissing in the parking garage, her hand resting lightly on his chest like they'd done it 1,000 times before. I don't know if he panicked, or if he even cared. But that wasn't the point. I needed him off balance. I needed him exposed. A week later, Dana came home with her mascara smudged and her eyes red. "I think Aaron's seeing someone else," she said. I shrugged. "That sucks." She looked at me like I'd missed my cue. That night, she tried to initiate. You know what I mean. It had been months since she made the first move. She touched my neck, tried to kiss me. Whispered things she hadn't said in years. I let her try. Then pulled away. "Tired," I said. "Long day." She didn't push it. She rolled over, confused. Hurt. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel like the broken one in the bed. I felt in control. 2 days later, I called a lawyer. Not for divorce. Not yet. That would have been too easy. I wasn't after separation, I was after erosion. Quiet, irreversible erosion of everything she thought was safe. The lawyer was recommended by a friend, someone who'd gone through a brutal custody case and walked out smiling. The kind of guy who didn't flinch when I told him, "I want to make her world feel like it's slipping, without her knowing I'm the one pulling the floor out." He said, "Okay. Tell me everything." So I did. The photos. The lies. The spa visits. The hotel bills. The schedule overlaps. Her texts. Her moods. The way she turned cold when she was getting what she wanted somewhere else. "I want to keep the house," I told him. "I want her to have nothing to fall back on. I want the end to feel sudden, like the floor just gave out. But legally clean. And God bless this man," he smiled. He set up the paperwork. Quietly. Strategically. Not for divorce, but for asset reallocation. We had no prenup, but the house was mine before marriage. Paid off early thanks to an inheritance she never bothered to ask about. I moved our financials into separate accounts. Then I locked the new ones behind two-factor authentication and security questions she couldn't guess even if she tried. Next, I got a burner phone. Created a new number. And I messaged her. Not as myself. Just a few simple texts, spaced out over 2 days. "I know what you did. He knows too. You should probably talk to your husband." She spiraled. First came the tears. Then the paranoia. She checked the locks twice before bed. Asked if I'd noticed anyone following us. Started turning her phone face down, even when she wasn't texting. As if I didn't already know every app she used to coordinate her affair. Then she started texting Aaron again, only this time, it wasn't flirty. It was frantic. I know this because I had installed software weeks ago that synced her messages to a private dashboard. She asked him if he told anyone. He said no. He asked if she told me. She said no. Not yet. She wanted to talk. Meet. Go over everything. But Aaron stopped replying. That man disappeared like smoke under a door. And she was unraveling. Exactly where I wanted her. She stopped going to the spa. That was the first sign the game was almost over. She started working from home more, pacing the living room barefoot, answering emails that didn't exist, talking to coworkers with a tone I'd never heard before, fragile, breathy, unsure. She tried to smile more. Cooked more. Put on dresses she hadn't worn in years. She even made that lemon chicken dish I liked on Wednesdays, lit a candle, poured wine like we were dating again. I ate in silence. She stared at me the whole time like a hostage waiting for her blindfold to be lifted. "You're quiet lately," she said. "So are you," I answered. That was the end of dinner conversation. She went to bed early that night. I stayed up. Watched the security cameras I'd installed last month, every angle of the outside of the house, just in case Aaron got brave or stupid. But the man had vanished. Maybe he moved, or changed numbers. Maybe he just finally understood that screwing married women comes with consequences. Either way, he was out of the picture. And she was on edge without him. What she didn't know, couldn't know, was that I had already filed the paperwork. My lawyer had sent a copy to her email that morning, under the subject line, Formal Notice of Property Adjustment and Separation. But she hadn't checked her inbox yet. She was too busy pretending. I let it hang for 2 days. Let her wear her best makeup. Let her put on perfume and wait for me to care. Then, Friday night, I dropped it. Not verbally. I printed the documents. Put them in a crisp black folder. Left it on the kitchen table with her favorite mug sitting next to it, coffee, just the way she liked it. She came down the stairs in leggings and a sweatshirt, hair in a messy bun. Saw the folder. Paused. "What's this?" she asked, already knowing. "Everything you're afraid of," I said. She didn't open it right away. Just stared at it like it might explode. When she finally did, she read the first page, then the second. Then stopped. "No," she whispered. "It's already done," I said. Tears welled up fast. Quicker than I expected. "I don't understand," she said, though she did. "Why now?" I took a sip from my own mug and looked her in the eyes. "You thought I'd wait, didn't you?" She didn't answer. "You thought I'd stand here and hold your hand while you explored someone else's body. You thought you could come back after. Just slide back into your place like nothing happened." She sat down, hard. Her voice cracked. "I made a mistake." "No," I said. "You made a choice. For 2 years. And now I've made mine." And just like that, Dana, the woman who once stood at an altar and promised me forever, was left sitting at our kitchen table, hands shaking, coffee untouched. And I walked upstairs, already sleeping better. She didn't move for a long time. I heard the muffled sound of her crying through the floorboards while I stood in our bedroom, staring out the window like I was waiting for something. But nothing came. No car pulling up. No apologies worth hearing. No sudden reversal of time. Just silence, and the sound of someone learning that their choices finally had a cost. The next morning, she was gone. No note. No suitcase either. She must have packed while I was in the shower. Just her toothbrush missing from the sink and the scent of her perfume still hanging in the air. I didn't chase her. I didn't call or text. Why would I? She'd spent 2 years slowly turning our marriage into a negotiation where I was the only one still paying full price. I had nothing left to give. The paperwork moved fast after that. She didn't contest it. I think she knew she didn't have the leverage anymore. The evidence I had made sure of that. She could try to spin it, but I had dates, times, names, receipts, and silence, mine. And silence, in the end, is louder than any accusation. The house stayed with me. The accounts were split cleanly. She got what the court said was fair. I got peace. Not immediately, though. I'll admit that. The first few weeks felt like detox. Like my body was remembering what it was like to live without flinching. Without pretending I didn't know what I knew. People ask what it's like, being betrayed by someone who used to fall asleep on your chest every night. I tell them it's like watching your house catch fire, and realizing they lit the match, then stood there asking if you could still make them dinner. It's insulting more than it is painful. The rage fades. The grief fades. But the insult, that stays for a while. One night, maybe 2 months later, I got a message from an unknown number. It just said, "I didn't know how much I loved you until I lost you." I didn't reply. I blocked the number. That was the last time I heard from her. These days, I sleep better. I eat alone, but not lonely. I read more. I take care of the house. I rebuilt my routine without the need to lie to myself. I'm not angry anymore. But I'm not sorry either. Because sometimes, the best revenge isn't some grand performance. It's walking away without limping. It's surviving what someone swore you'd never get over. And it's watching the person who betrayed you realize you were the one thing they couldn't replace.